So now we know what the area of a triangle is. Let me write down the formula. So the area of a triangle is going to be equal to half base into height. And now the trick is really to figure out what's the base and what's the height. That's the only thing. Now remember the experiments that we did, the triangles had either this shape, or they had this shape, or they had this shape, but in each case the height was this vertical height always. So this was the height, this was the height, and this was the base, this was the base, and this was the base. Okay, so now let's look at an example. Let's say if you have a triangle which maybe looks like this. So here's a triangle which looks like this. Now it doesn't look quite like that. Let's say this is 10 and this is 4, right? But you can see this is exactly of the second form. It's of this form, it's just flipped horizontally. So if you were to flip it vertically, you would get this triangle, right? So you'd get this triangle, this triangle, and this triangle. This would be 10, this would be 4, and I know the area of this triangle is half 10 into 4, which is 20 centimeters squares, okay? 20 centimeters square. We can try another triangle, maybe a triangle which looks something like this. So I'm just trying to give you a sense of the only problem is that sometimes people get confused about what's the base and what's the height. So here's a triangle which looks like this, and then here's what it looks like. So this is our triangle right over here, and we know this is 7 meters, and we know that this height, this distance right over here, the perpendicular distance, so you're always measuring the perpendicular distance, this is 9 meters. So now all that you need to do is you have to figure out that you can, so now 7 is going to be your base and 9 is going to be your height, and this is really a flipped version. So I can flip this over here. So I'll have 7 meters here, I'll have this extended over here, then I'll bring this down over here, and this extends over here, and this is like this, and this height is 9 meters. This is a 90-degree angle, and now you can see this is of the third format which I have over here. So you can really see whether you want it in format 1, format 2, or format 3. Essentially everything is one of these 3 formats. So this one is in format 3 and this was in format 2. Okay, you just have to be able to rotate things and be able to see things in a slightly different way, and then all you have to do is multiply half by 7 by 9 and you'll get the answer. Okay, now you can try other shapes too. For example, let's say you want to find out, so here's another triangle. Let me draw this. So I have something which is going to be 6, and then there's another 6 centimeters. So this is 6 centimeters, this is also 6 centimeters. There's a line here, and then we have a 90-degree line. This is 5 centimeters, so this is a 90-degree line. This is 5 centimeters, and then I have a 13 centimeters line right over here. So this line is 13 centimeters, and I have a line right over here, and this is the area that I want to figure out. Now note, this is exactly of form 3, because now you will take this as your base. So this will be your base and this will be your height, and the reason why you're doing this is a form 3. You go back and see this is a form 3, so the area is just going to be equal to half base into height. So this area is going to be half, the base is 6, and the height is 5, and you should be able to solve this problem. And now let me do one more example. Um, let's say you want to figure out the area of a rectangle. So not really a rectangle, it's kind of a funny shape. So here's your shape, and you want to figure out the area. This is 8 centimeters, this is 12 centimeters. So, and you have this shape right over here. This is going to be 7 centimeters. Okay, so this is what we have. So now what you want to do is you want to find out what this area is. This is the area that you want to find out. Well, this is very easy to do because you have this, which is 8 centimeters. So the area of this triangle is half 7 into 8, which is just 28 centimeters square. And the total area, so the green plus the yellow, is going to be just equal to 8 times 12, which is 96 centimeter square. And then the yellow area alone is going to be equal to 96 minus 28, which turns out to be equal to, I think, 68 centimeters square. So hopefully by doing such examples, you'll get comfortable. The most important thing is to figure out for a triangle, what's the base and what's the height. Remember, that's an important thing to remember, that always the height, as you measure it, the height is always perpendicular to the base. This is very important to remember. So whatever your triangle is, in every triangle, the height is perpendicular to the base. So if you have a triangle like this, if this is your base, then the height has to be perpendicular to the base. And if you have a triangle which we had over here, a triangle like this, in which you want this to be the base, then the height has to be, so this height, which is the same as this height, is always perpendicular to the base. Okay, and this height has to obviously stop somewhere over here. Hopefully this is all clear, but you'll have to practice to get comfortable with how to choose bases and heights.